What can you do to your tank to make it more stable so that you can do less water changes? And the answer is very simple. And then the next question is what can you put in there that will not dramatically change the water quality but provide nutrients for the animals?
Well, hello. Come right on in. You're at Father Fish.
There are those people who are convinced that the only way to keep fish is to feed them heavily every day. By feeding them heavily every day, they will learn to eat heavily every day. Now, it does reduce their lifespan. It does also increase their growth. They'll grow fast. They won't live as long, but they'll grow fast. They will also produce more waste. They will foul the water because of the waste. It will develop more and more organics much more quickly. As a result, it will need to be changed or filtered out. I mean, you can filter all that out. You can't do it with a standard filter, though. It has to be a biological filter. And the best biological filter is a deep substrate. That allows all of that detritus to get down into that substrate and frankly stay there and come out of the water column. That's the whole function really of the deep substrate, is to get all of that matter that the fish are releasing as waste to go down into the substrate and stay there, not get washed back out, which is why sand rather than gravel. With gravel, it gets washed back out. So what can you do to your tank to make it more stable so that you can do less water changes? And the answer is very simple. Feed less. Feed less. Put less organics, less biologicals into the system. It'll maintain the water quality longer. That's it. It's really that simple. And then the next question is what can you put in there that will not dramatically change the water quality but provide nutrients for the animals? The food web. The food web. The food web is the foundation of life in your aquarium. Any aquarium that has had fish in it for a few weeks has life in it that is invisible. Now, you can look at it through a microscope and see it, and I guess that's the point. But that life is universal. As long as the water is not toxic, microscopic life will be able to gain a foothold and develop and grow based on the nutrients that are available to it. Those nutrients are, of course, primarily fish waste, snail waste, plant waste. Other material that breaks down and dies is precisely what the microfauna thrive on. So what do we do to improve and increase the viability and the productivity of these creatures? Well, the first thing is to ensure that we have a good variety of them. And by variety, I mean different species. Diversity is really the key in any living environment to be able to for it to be able to sustain itself. For one creature not to take over and dominate and suppress or destroy every other to the point where there is no diversity and the dominant animal simply dies for lack of diversity, because that's really what happens. So what do we do about that? And the answer is based on some interesting research that our research group has done, determining that microfauna are global. That is to say, the same amoeba species, if you will, exists everywhere on Earth where it's possible for it to exist. Now, there's some environments that it won't be able to live in, but they're not geographical environments. They're environments based on the toxicity of the water or some other condition that makes it impossible for that particular animal or maybe animals of that type to survive. But they survive in freshwater environments in every corner of the globe. Cold, hot, doesn't matter. So a paramecium is a paramecium is a paramecium, whether it's from Taiwan or Nova Scotia or the US or Peru. It is the same animal. They are universal. It's important to understand that they're not native species, you see. They're not bound by geographical restrictions. And so there is no such thing as an invasive microfauna. They live everywhere. How can they be invasive? How do you collect them and where do you get them? How do you transport them? How do you set them up in an environment where they can grow and thrive? Well, all of those answers we deal with in depth at the Fatherfish Shoal. You find, obviously, these animals anywhere there is standing water that is permanent or relatively permanent standing water. If it dries out a month or two a year and is wet the rest of the time, all those animals will be in it. But you want permanent standing water. You want an old body of water, not a rain pool, although you'll find some things in a rain pool. A pond, a creek. Ponds are best because the water is still and the animals are able to stay in one location and they're a lot easier to collect typically. So what do? A bag or a jar, a bucket, anything will do. Something to carry, a little bit of water and some leaf mulch, some mud if you will. Now you don't want a whole lot of this unless you have a lot of facility, many tanks or a lot of vats or whatever. I went out yesterday and collected about 2.5 gallons of this material from a local creek. Now, I did that because lots of you buy it from me. You're either not willing to go and collect it yourself, or you may have difficulty finding places you trust. And so, you find other ways to get it. It is the same material. Don't worry about that. I've had people say, yours won't adapt to my water or my environment. And that's absolutely not true. Grab a handful of muck. You really don't want a lot of mud. A little bit's fine, but what you mostly want is the deteriorating material that is sitting on top of the mud. The leaves, branches, twigs, other vegetable matter, things that are breaking down. If you'll gather that will give you the very best harvest. Just a handful is all you need. Put it in your container and bring it back home. While you're out there, collect a bucket full of dried leaves from the ground. Anything surrounding that area where you have collected will have just the right kinds of leaves that you need. Get a bunch of them and bring them back as well. Find a jar. I like gallon jars. Quart jars are fine. Put some water in it from a fish tank. If you have not brought enough water back with you, that's perfectly fine to use. And put a portion of this into the jar. Now, if you've got more than that, make up another one. Make up 2 or 3 or 4. Make up a variety of these little containers. Put them in a place where they will get direct sunlight. Cover them if you want to with a piece of gauze. You can put a lid on it, but that prevents adequate oxygen exchange. Let it sit. Observe it for a day, 2 days, 3 days, 5 days, 10 days. In a few days, you'll see it'll be filled with life. Now, at that point, You can pour some of that or siphon it out with a turkey baster into your aquarium. Add leaf mulch. Just add it consistently. The key to it is to be able to get a really good leaf culture going so that the bottom half inch to an inch of much of the tank is covered in leaf mold. Replenish that weekly. Replenish the leaves as they deteriorate. In doing so, you will be building a food web. You are now nutrifying it, you're expanding it, you're increasing its life, its motility, but more importantly, its diversity. You will find that all the little fish will just be in love with what you've done. They'll be done digging through, looking for little tiny foods that are too tiny for you to see, but are perfect for them. They also will use this litter as it develops as a nursery. So you'll begin finding baby fish down in there. It's a wonderful, wonderful way to be able to develop a natural aquarium. So that's it. Just do it. If you have questions or problems, join us over on the Father Fish Show. Links below. You'll love it. I promise you. Bye for now.